For the last year and a half, for me, every time someone tried to rightfully criticize anything that Gayton Mackenzie said or did, they were labeled as a Jolofina or being pro-illegal immigration, as if fully grown adults are incapable of having conversations about immigration in whatever context without ever needing to be xenophobic. But more importantly, you were also labeled as anti-colored. Every time a black person tries to express their discomfort when they're subjected to anti-blackness by certain racist colored people, you are automatically labeled as anti-colored, right? A lot of you have been asking yourselves, why out of all of the deeply misogynistic things that Open Chat has had to say about black women in particular, why was this the one thing that finally got the country to care about holding them accountable, deplatforming them, and seriously questioning the content that they allow themselves and their immediate circles to consume? Well, it's because these harmful comments were made against actual human beings. For the longest time, Open Chat has not been offending human beings, but this time they did. I remember when I was in grade 11 and the matrics right above us were trying to get our hair policy updated to allow us to get fades, braids, for our hair to no longer be measured because that has a racist undertone, right? Very similar to the pencil test. And when someone asked for my opinion on the things that were happening, I said, and I still stand by it, guys, you need to remember, for your hair to be treated with dignity and respect, it has to be growing out of the scalp of a human being, and unfortunately we are not seen as human beings. When you guys make these comparisons to animals when we're talking about colored people, saying colored people are incestuous by nature, that it is in their literal genetic makeup to want to have sexual relations with their siblings or cousins or close relatives. I mean, the one creator who made a deeply offensive video immediately after Open Chat, who literally said that she needs to play a certain type of music to distract her colored boyfriend from not stabbing her while they're at church, or the people who say all colored people abuse their children, feed them drugs. You can continue with these list of stereotypes. Unfortunately, a lot of these people will not stand for it because you are comparing human beings to animals, right? When people compare black women to animals, no one has a problem because people don't see black people as human beings to begin with. You guys need to remember that every single race except us in this country is more human than we will ever be. There's a hierarchy of humanity and we're at the bottom of it. And within the black community itself, black men are still seen as more human than black women themselves. So when you're misogynistic towards black women, a lot of people are saying, well, it's not dehumanization if they're not human beings to begin with. When you are disrespectful towards black women, it's calling a monkey a monkey. When you say black women are deeply offended by X statement, how can they be offended if they're monkeys? Monkeys don't have feelings. It's also why when people make these comparisons again with the hair, our hair is better because it blows in the wind. Your hair could be used to wipe a pot, could wash a pot, whatever the hell they were saying. It's dehumanized and reduced to this inanimate object because it is not growing from the scalp of a human being. Our eyes are better because they are green or gray. Our dark brown eyes, because most black people have very dark brown eyes, these are not the eyes of human beings. We do not have the sight of human beings. They're not useful. We're not human beings. Like, do you guys understand that for you guys to want to defend humanity, the people you're defending would have to be actual people first? For them, we're good enough to be used in animal testing. Our hair is good enough to be used in fur coats. If our skin could be turned into leather, a lot of people would be comfortable wearing jackets made out of black people's skin. And there's a conversation to be said that even within your disrespect towards black people's hair, it's still connected to labor. Washing pots, because labor is the only thing black people will ever be useful for, and that every black person is a pot washer. And before I move into Project Abahambe, let me leave you with this. Again, I'm going to reiterate it. When you say colored people only know how to eat, birth, stay alive in its most basic forms, and kill out of instinct, You're comparing them to hippos. You're comparing them to lions. You're comparing them to these things. And animalistic comparisons are only reserved for black people. I mean, I follow this incredible creator on here now. You guys should check her out. I remember even when she made a video about that Bonnie Blue's petting zoo, where she was essentially going to make herself like an animal. And yeah, you know her, I think it's the 1,000 men lady, 100 men, something like that. She was the first creator to really get me interested in like drawing the line between these animal comparisons and the dehumanization that a lot of black people are subjected to, and how it's easy for people to call us cockroaches, baboons. When they see us in packs, they compare us like, I don't know. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. And speaking of yapping, guys, my podcast, Young, Popular, and Opinionated, will be live tomorrow at 3 p.m. on YouTube under House of Rambedi's YouTube channel, where you find Thought Digest, As Machida, Seated With, you know, one of those lovely podcasts. And from next week will be available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Yes. But anyway, another reason why I could never get behind Project Abahambe, because I always knew that it had very little to do with illegal immigration and had everything to do with Mabehambe Abantu Abamnyama in general in South Africa. Guys, I don't even want to lie to you. A lot of you have these wet dreams about a model like ICE, where people are mass deported. All of these funds are pumped into getting people out of the country. From a resource and corruption point of view, we're never going to get there. It would take decades, if not centuries, for something like that to materialize. So the sooner you let go of that, the better your life will be. And that is also why a lot of these politicians, when it's time to actually have constructive conversations about what they're doing about immigration, they resort to xenophobia, anti-blackness, eugenics, featureism, texturism, you name it. Because the easiest way for you to start a war on foreigners is to make people within their own country, especially black people, distance themselves from that blackness because of our proximity to whiteness. Why in tribal wars, I never entertain tribal wars because it gets very anti-black very quickly. And I'm going to use a prime example, Zulu people versus Bedi people. A lot of people love to, I guess, come down on Bedi people or people from Limpopo in general because of their features. I mean, a lot of people from Limpopo are the reason why I could never ever be xenophobic, because the exact same anti-black rhetoric of xenophobia is used against them. I mean, people say, oh, Zulu people, a lot of them are yellow, they're curvy, they're more feminine, whatever. A lot of Bedi women are more masculine looking, they're straight, they're tall. You know, Bedi people have these broad noses. A lot of them are dark. People from Limpopo have this navy blue skin color. Leboni Gayton, in one of his tweets, called someone navy blue. Hey. And then it begs the question, and then almost ultimately, is South Africa a Amazulu? Amapenti mabaham. Almost very quickly. And I know this is not for every case. It's just specifically related to when the war happens between Zulu people and Bedi people in particular. Right? So it begs the question, is the person who is the most South African the one who can get closer to whiteness? And then it's also why people like Gayton McKenzie think colored people are the most South African. And they probably think that white people are the real South Africans, because the closer you are to white, the more South African you deserve to be regarded as, the more South African you are. Guys, we're going to need a part 2. Wait.